Hi, welcome to video instruction of modeling and finite element laboratory. This is video instruction number 5, and in this I'm going to cover the static analysis of two-dimensional problems. Consider a plate with a hole problem as shown. As there is a planar symmetry, it is sufficient enough if we model 1/4 of the geometry. So finite element model required to solve this problem is shown in the third sketch, where appropriate boundary conditions are applied. In meshing, there are different possibilities. We always should know that meshing is very important step in getting the accurate solution. There are two main meshing methods in ANSYS mechanical APDL. First one is called free mesh and the second one is called mapped mesh. Free mesh has no element shape restrictions. Mesh does not follow any pattern. You can see the right side sketch. First sketch shows the free mesh. There is no regular pattern, and free mesh is suitable for complex areas and volumes. Mapped mesh restricts the element shapes to quadrilateral for areas and hexahedra for volumes. Typically, it has a regular pattern with obvious row of elements. You can see the second sketch where you can observe the regular arrangement of elements. And this is suitable for regular areas and volumes such as rectangles and bricks. Free mesh is easy to create, no need to divide complex shapes into regular shapes. Volume meshes can contain only tetrahedra, resulting in large number of elements. Only higher order tetrahedron elements are acceptable, so the number of degrees of freedom can be very high in case of free mesh. But in mapped mesh, it generally contains a lower number of elements. Lower order elements may be acceptable, so the number of degrees of freedom is lower. Aesthetically pleasing, areas and volumes must be regular in shape, and mesh divisions must meet certain criteria. Very difficult to achieve, especially for complex shape volumes. And another important thing that we should remember is free mesh is easy to create, but it can reduce the accuracy level. Mapped mesh is difficult to achieve, but it increases the accuracy level. Let us see what are the requirements of a geometry for getting a mapped mesh. The rule for two-dimensional mapped meshing is any area should contain 4 or less than 4 sides, then it is mapped meshable. But the present area that is shown in the screen is having 5 lines. Arc is also a line, so there are totally 5 lines, so it cannot be mapped mesh directly. So we have to prepare this geometry for map meshing. What we can do is we can divide this geometry here so that you get two areas like this. Now each area 1 and 2 has 4 sides, so it is map meshable. So this much preparation you have to do in order to achieve the map mesh. Now for this kind of geometry, it is also a plate with a hole problem, but length is more now. We cannot divide as we have done previously because there will be a corner where angle will be very less. So we divide this area like this. We divide it here first, then we divide it here, then it becomes 3 areas. Each of the area now has 4 bounding lines, so it is map meshable. Similarly, if I take this area, I have to divide here, here, here and here, so that it has 5 areas in total. Each of the area now has 4 sides, so it can be map meshed. This geometry, if I take, there is a planar symmetry. I need to model only top half or bottom half of the problem. So I'll divide it here at the symmetry line first. Then I will make divisions here. Then I have to make divisions here, here and here. Now there are 6 areas. Each of the area now has 4 bounding lines, so it can be map mesh. This much preparation you have to do for getting the map mesh. Now for all the problems of plane stress, plane strain and axis symmetry, we use the element plane 182, which is defined by 4 nodes I, J, K, L as shown in the sketch, and it has 2 degrees of freedom at each node, Ux and Uy. Now let us solve a problem on stress concentration. It is a problem of plate with a hole under tensile load. Load is given as 20 Newton per mm. It has a width of 200 and height of 100 mm, and there is a central hole of 40 mm diameter. And as I explained earlier, this can be solved as a quarter symmetry problem. We need to model 1/4 of this geometry. So right side you can see the geometry that you need to model. Thickness is 20 mm as given in the problem, and when I use symmetry, I have to give symmetric boundary condition on the edges where it is symmetric. Appropriate boundary condition should be given. Now we have to model this as a plane stress with thickness problem. We are not actually creating the thickness, but we will include the thickness value as a real constant in ANSYS. For this problem, if you calculate the nominal stress is load by nominal area. Nominal area is the area at the cutout. So load is 20 Newton per mm. So if I multiply the width, I'll get the total force in Newton. So 20 into 100 is the total force, divided by nominal area is width is 100 minus the diameter of the hole 40 into the thickness 20. So the nominal stress will be obtained as 1.666 Newton per mm square. If you refer the stress concentration factor versus D by W ratio for plate with a hole problem in design handbook, you can obtain the stress concentration factor like this. So theoretical stress concentration factor is 2.25 for this problem because D by W ratio is 0.4 here. And based on this theoretical stress concentration factor, I can calculate what is the maximum stress. So 2.25 into sigma nominal 1.666 will give you 3.75 Newton per mm square. This is the theoretical answer for this problem. Let us verify this value in ANSYS. First I will use free mesh for this problem. Preferences, structural, OK. Select the element type, add, solid, the first element plane 182, select that. As soon as it gets selected, go to options, change element behavior to plane stress with thickness, click OK, close, go to real constants, add, OK, enter the thickness 20 mm, OK, close, material properties, material models, structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. Young's modulus is 200 gigapascal, that is 2E5, and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. Click OK. Material model is created. We have to model the geometry. Create areas, rectangle by two corners. Width you enter as 100 because we are modeling only 1/4 of the geometry. Height as 50. Okay. Now we have to draw a circle here and subtract the circle from this rectangle. So draw the circle, solid circle, radius 20. Click OK. So it is created. I'll subtract this. Subtract is a Boolean operation which comes under operate. Operate, booleans, subtract, areas. First you select the rectangle, click OK, then select the circle, click OK. So this is the geometry that we are going to use for solving this problem. Next step is meshing. In meshing there are three stages: mesh attributes, size controls and mesh. All these options are given in mesh tool. So let us give a global control of element size. Let us start with 25 mm edge length, click OK. Quadrilateral, free, mesh, select the geometry, click OK. So this is the mesh that we get for element size of 25 mm. It is a very coarse mesh. We will see what results we get for this mesh. Go to loads, define loads, apply, structural, displacement, symmetric BC. See, we are making use of symmetry here and here. So I can directly go for symmetric boundary condition on lines. Select this line and this line. Click OK. Now you can see there is a S symbol here which indicates that symmetric boundary condition is applied. Next is pressure on lines. I can select this edge, click OK and apply the value of pressure in Newton per mm square, not in terms of Newton per mm, because this is pressure on lines. In the problem, pressure is given as 20 Newton per mm, so per unit length. Now if I want to convert this into 20 Newton per mm square, I have to divide this by the thickness. thickness is 20 mm, so 20 by 20 is 1. So 1 MPa or 1 Newton per mm square is the pressure, but pressure always, if I apply positive, if it will be towards the geometry, since it is away from the geometry, now I have to give it as negative pressure. So minus 1 is what I need to enter now. So now let us enter pressure of minus 1, click OK. You can see the arrow here which is pointing away from the geometry, so direction of pressure is correct. Now let us solve this problem. Solve, current load step, click OK. Solution is done. Let us see the results. General post processor, read results, last set, go to plot results, deformed shape, deformed plus undeformed. If I click, it will give me the deformed shape. Maximum deformation is so much mm. If you want color plot of deformation, you can go to deformation vector sum, like this. This is where the maximum deformation is. If you want to get stress values, go to stress. X component of stress is nothing but sigma x. If I plot, you can see maximum stress is here of magnitude 2.6942 megapascal. If I want any other component, sigma y, tau xy, sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, any value I can get. Let us see what is one mesh stress for this. See, this is the one mesh stress distribution. Again, here this is the critical region or critical node is here. Maximum value of one mesh stress is 2.54695. So let us record these values in Excel sheet. I have prepared an Excel sheet here just to vary the element size and observe how the results change. This process is called convergence study or mesh grid analysis in FEM. For element size of 25 mm, we have got the one mesh stress and sigma x. So let us enter those two values here with the number of elements and critical node number. So let us find out number of elements and critical node number now. First, list elements, nodes. If you list, you can see maximum number of element is 9. Total number of element is 9 and the critical node is here. So let us use query results, subgrid solution, stress, x component of stress, click OK. If you click on this node, it shows the value of stress here, x component, and the node number also. So 12 is the node number. So total number of element is 9 and node number is 12. So let us enter those two values here. So total number of element is 9 and critical node number is 12. Enter. Let us find out SXX and one mesh stress for this. SXX value is 2.6942. So as soon as I enter SXX, it is calculating K sigma value corresponding to that. I have entered formula here, so it is automatically calculating. Let us record the one mesh stress value also. One mesh stress, if I want, I have to go to subgrid solution again. Go to one mesh stress here. Click OK. Select the same node. Node number is same 12, but the one mesh stress value is shown here 2.54695. 2.54695. Enter. Next, let us change the element size to 20 and record the same values. For which I have to go back to preprocessor, meshing, mesh tool, global set. I'll change it to 20. Click OK. Quadrilateral free mesh. Select the geometry. Click OK. It is asking whether to remesh. Click OK. So it is remeshed now. Let us find out what is the number of elements that is present now. Go to list here. Totally there are 11 elements. Let us record that 11 elements and we'll solve it now. You don't have to change the boundary conditions and loads because it is applied on lines. We have not changed the geometry, so we don't have to change anything. Directly we can solve it. Click OK. Solution is done. Go to general post processor, query results, subgrid solution, stress 1 meshes, click OK, select the same critical node. See, now the critical node number is 14, record that, and 1 meshes stress value is 2.58242. 58242, that is the 1 meshes stress. And Sx value, sigma xx, we want, select the same node, 14, Sxx value is 2.72707. 72707. So K sigma value is calculated. Let us go for 15 mm mesh. So go back to preprocessor, mesh tool, global set, change it to 15, click OK, mesh, select this, click OK. Do you want to remesh? Yes. Now let us count the elements, list elements. There are 23 elements in total. Let us record that. So total number of elements 23, and solve that problem. Solve. OK. Solution is done. See the 1 meshes and sigma x values at the critical node. So stress sigma x, click OK. Select the critical node number 19 now. Node number 19 is a critical node, and let us find out what is the Sx value. 3.00083. 3.00083 is the Sx value, and corresponding 1 mesh stress also will record. Subgrid solution, 1 mesh stress, select the node 2.82575. 82575. Next we will change the element size to 10. Go back to mesh tool, global set to 10, click OK, quadrilateral free mesh, select OK, OK. See, now the number of elements we can count here. 46 is a number. We'll record that here. 46 numbers, and we'll solve this problem. Solution is, click OK, solution is done. Go to general post processor, subgrid solution, stress sigma x, we'll find out first. Click OK, select the critical node, node number 25 now. Critical node is 25, and we'll find out the value 3.28303. 28303 is a sigma x value. We'll find out the 1 mesh stress also. Subgrid solution, 1 mesh stress, OK. Select the node. 25 is the node number, and value is 3.08612. 08612 is plotted. Next we'll change it to 5 mm mesh size. Go to preprocessor, mesh tool, global set, 5 mm, click OK, quadrilateral free mesh, select the geometry, click OK, OK. So mesh is done, but you can see, since it is free mesh, it is trying to include some triangular elements also, where you can see a triangular element here. It is giving the warning for that. Let us continue, solve this problem. Go to general post processor, subgrid solution, sigma 1 meshes first. Select this geometry. Select the critical node. 48 is a critical node. 48 is a critical node, and let us count the number of elements later. We'll enter the 1 mesh stress value. What is the 1 mesh stress value? 3.506. 3.506 is a one mesh stress value. Number of elements will count. List elements. Totally 184 elements are present. We'll enter that number of elements 184. Next, we'll find out what is a sigma x value there. Sigma x, click OK. 48, 3.69. 48 is a critical node number. 48 is entered. We'll find out what is sigma x. 3.69995. 69995. So we have completed few iterations. We varied element size from 25 to 5 mm, and now you observe the k sigma value here. Initially, when we have element size of 25, k sigma was 1.616, but actual theoretical k sigma value is 2.25. But as we decrease the element size, or as we increase the number of elements, see now at 5 mm element size we are getting 2.2199 as k sigma value. So accuracy is increasing as we increase the number of elements. This study is called convergence study. We can do the same study for mapped meshing also. We have done it for free mesh. You can see the variation of one mesh stress versus number of elements here. It is plotted like this. Initially it is very less, but now as we increase the number of elements, it becomes almost horizontal here. That is where we say the solution is converged. Now we will change the same problem to a mapped mesh one. So for which we have to clear the mesh and modify the geometry. So I will clear the mesh, clear areas, select the area, click OK. It is cleared now, mesh is clear, but area is still there. So plot areas, if I do, area is still there. So let us delete the loads and boundary conditions also. Go to delete all loads and options, click OK, it is deleted. So go to modeling. Now I have to create a line here and a line here in order to divide this area into three areas. So I'll create key points on line, select this line, click OK, select somewhere here at the center, click apply, a key point is placed there. Now I'll select this line, click OK, approximately I'll click somewhere here, so that this region becomes approximately a square. Anywhere you can click. I clicked somewhere here, click OK, a key point is placed there also. Now I can use straight lines, normal to line option, normal to this line, click OK, from this key point, click OK. See, a line is created. From the placed key point, I am drawing a normal line to this line. Now already a point is here, I can directly draw a straight line. So go to straight line from this point to this point. Now lines are drawn, but area is still the same. I am supposed to divide the area using these lines now. So divide is a Boolean operation. Go to operate Booleans, divide area by line option, select the area first, click OK, select these two dividing lines, click OK. Now it is divided into three areas. If you want, you can verify. Go to plot controls, numbering, area numbers you make it on, and you can see this area number A1, this is A4, this is A2. There are three areas now. So I can easily map mesh now. So go to meshing, mesh tool. For map meshing, initially I'll control the element size as 25. Go to quadrilateral, mapped, mesh, pick all. See now it is map mesh. You can see the regular arrangement of elements now. Let us find out how many elements are present. So go to list, elements, nodes. There are 14 elements. We'll record that. For 25, number of elements is 14. And we'll solve this problem by applying boundary conditions and loads. So loads, apply, displacement, symmetric BC on lines. Select this line and this line. There are two lines now because we have divided the area. Select all three lines. You can see SS symbol here, which means that symmetric boundary condition is applied. Now go to pressure on lines, select this line, click OK. Pressure value is -1, click OK. You can see the arrow. Now solve this problem. Solution is done. Go to general post processor. You can see all the other results, but go to subgrid solution. I am interested in the Sx and von Mises stress values at the critical location. So go to stress Sx, click OK. At this node number is 21, value is so much. We'll record that node number is 21, critical node number is 21, and value of stress is 2.92846. 846 Newton per mm square. That is a sigma x value. We'll calculate what is a von Mises stress also. Von Mises stress, click OK. Same node you select, 2.74196. 74196. You can see a new point now. This represents this analysis result. Next we'll change the element size to 20. So go back to preprocessor, meshing, mesh tool, global set, make it 20 now, click OK. Quadrilateral mapped, mesh, pick all, click OK. It is mesh now. We'll list the number of elements. 27 is the number of elements now. We'll record that. 27. Next we'll solve this problem. Current load step, OK, close. Go to general post processor, subgrid solution. First von Mises stress we'll see, click OK. Record von Mises stress of this critical node. Node number is 32 now. 32, and von Mises stress value is 3.0946, and Sx value also will take. Sx value is here. Select the 32 node number. Value is 3.32115. 32115. Next 15 mm results. Go back to preprocessor, modeling, meshing, mesh tool, global set, 15 mm, click OK, mesh, pick all, click OK. It is meshed. Go to list elements, number of elements you find out, 48 elements are there. Record that here, 48 numbers. Then go to solve, current load step, click OK. Solution is done. Close. Go to general post processor, subgrid solution, Sx at the critical node. 50 is the node number. Record that. 50 is a node number, and value of von Mises and Sx values. Sx is 3.53222, and von Mises stress is the critical location is 3.29769. 29769. Next 10 mm element size. Go back to meshing, mesh tool, global set, 10, OK, mapped mesh, pick all, OK, meshed. Number of elements will count. 80 elements are present. So record 80 elements here, and we'll solve this. current load step. Okay, solution is done. Close. See the results. General post processor, subgrid solution. SX will see first. Select the critical node. Node number 78 is the critical node now. 78 is a critical node, and value of SX is 3.64786. 64786. And one mesh stress also will find out. Subgrid solution, one meshes, select the critical node, 3.41855. 41855. The last iteration with element size of 5 mm. So go back to preprocessor, meshing, mesh tool, global set, 5 mm, click OK, mapped mesh, pick all, click OK, meshing is done. List elements, three 10 elements are there. We'll record that 310 and we'll solve this problem. Solution is done. Close this. Go to general post processor, subgrid solution, SX value first at the critical location, 253. 253 is a node number, and value of SX is 3.79802. 79802. And one mesh stress. Okay, select the same critical node, 3.62408. 62408. See, we have completed few iterations just to make assessment on the convergence here. You observe, for mapped mesh, we got last result of 2.27, which is very close to 2.25. And in free mesh also, we got 2.21, which is very close to 2.25. And you observe the number of elements used for free mesh is 184 and for mapped mesh is 310 for the same element size. Because it is mapped mesh, there is a regular flow of elements here, and all other results are not very accurate, and this is how the accuracy improve. And if you continue to increase the number of elements, it becomes almost horizontal. That is when we say solution is converged. Now for this same problem, we can expand the results to full plate, that is done using symmetry expansion. So go to plot controls, style, symmetry expansion, periodic or cyclic symmetry, 1/4 diagonal symmetry, click OK. You get the full plate, and whatever results you want to plot, you can plot it. See, if you want SX, you can plot it. This isometric view. If you want to add the thickness also, you can show the thickness here. Display of element on includes the thickness. So this is the actual plate which is undergoing tensile deformation. You can animate this, animate deformed results over stress. I'll call one mesh stress. You can see this is how material undergoes stressing. Stop it, close. That completes this problem. Thank you.